Hello everyone and welcome to today's event. My name is Rachel Klein and I'll be your presenter here for the next 20 minutes. Today we are talking about duplicate givers, so records that have been entered into the database more than once. It's a common issue that I see or I hear about on my support calls. A lot of times people who are working in the database, it's easy to get somebody entered in more than once. So it's kind of one of those inevitable things that you're going to come across at one point or another, and you're going to have to clean it up. You want to make sure all of the data, all their giving, all their pledging, all their contact information, everything you have on them is set up just in one spot. That way you have a true, clear record for the individual that you're working with. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So if you're looking at page 1 of the document, it goes over a couple different things about the type of givers that we have in the database. And I want to make sure this is clear to everybody. Givers or individuals, people, they can be entered either through donations or they can be entered through the membership module. Okay, whomever you enter over in membership, that record or that individual's information is going to carry over and it's going to appear in the donations module. Okay, but there's another option for entering what we call a donations individual or a donations group. These are going to be donations givers that only appear in the donations side of the database. Okay, so those are people that maybe you just want to have in donations. You don't want to clutter up your membership side, or maybe they're givers who just come once for a memorial and you need to get the gift entered, but you know they have a church home, you know they're not going to be joining, so you don't put them over in membership. Whatever the case may be, there are different types of givers that you can have in the database. Okay, so I want to point those out to you quickly, which will help kind of figure out who's who within the database and then what steps you need to take to clean them up. Okay, so if we look right here, we're going to be working with James today. He's kind of our guinea pig, our example that we're going to use today from the materials as well. So if we look here at James, you can see I've created 3 versions of James. Okay, if you look in this member/donations giver column, you can see these 2 records are from the membership module, and this one is from the donations module. So this is the one with the D after it. This is that donations giver. So this record here that I have highlighted only exists here in donations. You won't find this specific record over a membership. Okay, now we can see we have a James Kildare that has a V after their last name, telling us that they have a category of visitor from the membership module, or category of visitor from the membership module. And then down here you can see the next version of James has an M, which tells us he's a member because he has the member category from the membership module. Okay, so at this point we can see I have 3 versions of James and I need to decide of those 3 which one do I want to keep. Okay, if James is either a member or visitor, I do not recommend keeping the one with the D as the one moving forward, okay? We want to use one of the ones from the membership module so we can track all that additional information on him, like his birthday and his membership date and things like that. So we're going to decide the one with the D is out. We're not going to keep that as the good one. But now we need to go look at these other 2 records of membership and decide of these 2, which one do I want to keep moving forward. The giver number, the giving and the pledging, that is all easily moved off of one record onto another. So what I typically recommend people do is go into membership. And then in membership, look at the different records that exist here and pick which one has the most information on it, which one has the most beneficial information moving forward. Okay, it's going to save you a lot of re-entry over here in membership. So let's go up here into people. I'm going to click in the person lookup. I'm going to type James's name in. Now I can see real quick that this version of James doesn't even have an address. And I can see this one does have an address. So let's go to the one without the address first. Okay, once his record loads, it's looking pretty empty. No giver number, no address, no phone number, no contact information filled in at all. So this is a pretty weak record for James, if you will. Let's go look at the other one. All right, now look at this version of James. Look at all this information here. We have a birthday, family relation, contact information, and a giver number, okay? So if it were up to me, I would suggest keeping this version of James because there's a lot of really good information here, okay? So what I'm going to do to show over in donations that this is the James I'm keeping, I'm going to click next to his first name and I'm going to put a little asterisk there. That is going to be the key or the deciding factor, if you will, that this is the one that we want to keep over in the donations module. We want to take everything off those other two records and put it right here. Okay? So I saved that, and now let's jump back over into donations. The next thing we want to look at is if there's any giving on the other two that we're no longer keeping. If there is, we need to get it off of those records and we need to get it over to the James with the asterisk, so the James that we're keeping moving forward. Easiest place to do that is in donations under givers and then transfer donations. Okay. As soon as this screen opens, you need to specify the date range you want to research or pull the giving from. For me, I like to go way back. I want to grab everything there is possibly to grab, and I want to move it off of the record we're not keeping to the record that we are. So all the giving is in one location. So I'm going to come here in my date range box. I'm just going to take this back to 2000. Okay. As soon as you change the date, you're going to hit the Apply Dates button in red, and that's going to update your screen, pulling information from way back. Okay. If you have a record that's inactive, but you also want to move the giving off of it so you can delete it, make sure you check this inactive box. Otherwise, any inactive people will not be included in this list. Another thing to keep in mind about this list, anyone you have here has giving that can be moved. Okay, so if you go to look for somebody, you type in the name that you know exists, and they don't show up in this list, that means there's no giving on that record within your date range that you need to move. Okay, so let me say that again. If you look for somebody and they don't show up in this from giver list on the left, or who you're taking the giving away from, that means there's no giving on that record that you can move. Okay, so let's type in James here and see what we get. So we have giving on two versions of James. Looks like we have giving on the donations giver with giver number 261, and we have some giving on the James with the asterisk, the one we're going to keep moving forward. Okay, so we want to choose the donations giver because we want to get that giving off of this version of James so we can put it over on the one with the asterisk. So as soon as I select the one we want to take the giving away from, it's going to list all of the transactions that we can move. And then over here to the right to the to giver, I'm looking for the James with the asterisk because that's the one we want all the giving on. Okay, looks like there's some older giving on here as well. Okay, so we're taking it off of James Kildare with the D and we're putting it on James Kildare with the asterisk. Okay, another really important thing that you want to check here is this little box in the middle that says these two givers are the same person. What this tells the software is that we're cleaning up a duplicate record. By checking this box, it's not going to put reversing transactions on this James Kildare record with the D. By not putting reverse transactions, that allows us to be able to delete the record of James Kildare because there's no history on that, okay? So keep that in mind. So I'm going to check that box and I'm going to hit transfer. It's going to say, are you sure James Kildare with the D and James Kildare with the asterisk are the same person and you want to transfer selected giving? I'm going to say yes, okay? And now all my giving is empty here, and now all of my giving is on the James Kildare with the asterisk, okay? Now keep in mind that other James Kildare, that third record that we had, that visitor record, it's not in here. And that means there's no giving on that third version of James with the V that we need to worry about moving, okay? Simple as that. So we got all the giving in the right spot. Now let's go see if we can delete the James Kildare with the D. To do that, we have to go into Manage Givers because he's a donations giver. We can't find his record over in membership. We need to find it here. James with a D. Select him, and I'm going to hit delete down here at the bottom. And it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to delete 261 James Kildare? I'm going to say yes here, but before I do, I want to point something out. This version of James has a giver number. It has giver number 261. We can see that right here. When I say yes to this, that is going to delete the giver number as well off of James Kildare and make it available for you to reassign it to someone else if need be. Okay, so I'm going to say yes, and now my James is out of the list. So now I just have my two. I have my one with the V, and I have my good one with the asterisk. Okay. If you find you have any changes or any thing you need to do with giver numbers, let's say maybe this version of James should actually have giver number 261 and not number 78. You can easily change that by closing out of here and going up to givers up at the top and then manage numbers. Manage numbers to me is the best screen when you need to make changes to somebody's giver number. And I think it opened up in a really weird place. There it is. Okay. So if we look in this list, I'm going to sort it by number because I think that's easier to find people. And where'd he go? As I say that, I can't find him. Here we go. Okay, so here's James with number 78. For this record, that number started in 1/1/2020. Okay, we can leave that as is, or I can use the minus sign off to the right, and I can delete giver number 78 off of James. And I'm going to say okay. And keep in mind the giving is attached to the name. It's not attached to the number, so you can change numbers around all you wish. And then James is still up here. I'm going to hit add new number. I'm going to give him 261, and I'm going to have it start the 1st of this year, and I'm going to say okay. So now my giver number on James is back to 261 as it should be. Okay? Perfect. So that's done. Now let's go look at that third version of James that we had over in membership, the visitor record. So back in membership, right now we're still on the member record, and I'm going to look for the other version of James right here. This is that version of James that didn't have an address, that just had no good information on him at all. At this point, I can just come up here and hit delete family. Because there's no giving, no pledging on this record, it's going to allow me to delete it. So delete family. Confirm down here at the bottom that you want to delete this entire record because there's nothing usable on it, and I'm going to say yes. Okay. Now when I go up to my person lookup, I have my James with asterisk here. Now, you might need to come in and make a couple changes to this record. Say there's the wrong address on this one, or say they're missing their spouse, or what have you. You can come in here and make any changes to any of these fields you have over here on the right. You can also come in here and hit the little pencil if you need to adjust their address. Maybe their address isn't correct. All of that can be done right here now in the membership module. Okay. Pretty straightforward. One more thing that I want to point out to you that actually isn't in the document but does come up occasionally is pledging. If you are a pledging church, I do see where maybe a pledge from one year is on one record and then a pledge from another year is on a different record. If that's the case, let me click in here and get rid of this asterisk real quick. If that's the case, there is no way to transfer pledging like there is, like I showed you with donations. The pledging is going to have to be deleted and then re-entered individually. Okay, so you go into your pledging blue ribbon there, you select your campaign, and what you would actually need to do is use the minus sign off to the right here to delete the pledge off of the record that you're no longer keeping, so the duplicate that you're getting rid of. And then if it's missing off the good record, you'd have to go put that back in for the corrected person. Okay, so keep that in mind, and if you're not a pledging church, this doesn't apply to you. But if you find you go to delete someone, a duplicate that you've moved the giving off of, and it says, well, they can't be deleted because they have a pledge, then you're going to have to come in here and find the pledge that's on them, use the minus sign to delete it, possibly jot down the information if you need it, and then you will re-enter it on the individual or the one that you're going to keep moving forward. Okay. That's not in the document, but it does come up, so I wanted to make sure I pointed that out to you. So now when we go into Manage Givers and we look for James, we just have the one version of James. All of the giving is in that one spot, and we have the right giver number on him. Okay? And that is everything that I wanted to go over with you guys today.